Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the San Martin SN020-G limited edition. This watch is available from watchdives.com for $229 US. You can use the discount code WR4K to get $10 US discount off any watch over $150 US on watchdives.com. So the SN020-G limited edition is available in three dial colour options: matte black, Tiffany blue and sunburst blue respectively. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the watch comes in this black pelican style case. I'll show you the interior of the case. As you can see, both halves are lined with two foam panels, which does a good job of protecting the watch in shipping. So I like this black pelican style case. They're very durable and I think they make a credible alternative to using the default option of a cardboard watch box. This is the owner's instruction manual, clear concise diagrams. The instructions are in English and it details the operation of the movement use, which is the YN55A automatic. This is the plastic warranty card, and as you can see the reverse is stamped and filled in with the date of purchase. Usually San Martin watches are covered by a 2-year international warranty, but if you purchase this watch from watchdives.com, they cover the watch with a 3-year international warranty, so one is getting an additional 12 months, which is very good. This is the stainless steel spring bar tool that comes with the watch. We have a push pin at one end, no old shank, it's solid stainless steel, and at the other end we have a 2-prong fork. And lastly, one also gets this stainless steel 1.6mm flathead screwdriver, again no old shank, solid stainless steel, so good quality accessories that come with the watch. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the San Martin SN020-G limited edition. I've previously reviewed the date version of this piece, and in my review I was hoping that San Martin would produce a no-date version of the limited edition, and I'm pleased to report they've now done that in both matte black, Tiffany blue and this sunburst blue version. Of those three dial colour options, I think the sunburst blue is the most aesthetically pleasing. With regards to dimensions, we have a 39mm case diameter, we have a 47.5mm lug-to-lug measurement, a thickness of 13mm and a lug width of 20mm. The oyster style bracelet tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to 16mm at the 2-button push clasp. The clasp is signed to a high standard with the San Martin brand emblem embossed, and I like the chamfer, which is mirror polished on the edges and also on the end of the clasp. Nice heavy gauge of metal to the 316L grade stainless steel. I'm often critical of brands only having 2 or 3 micro adjustment holes in their clasp, and credit where credit's due, San Martin have made the correct decision by having 4 micro adjustment holes, and this means one can fine tune the length of the bracelet to get the perfect fit. Good foam resistance to the 2-button push triggers, and the interior is finished to a good standard. Brushed satin finish to the top side, underside and flanks of the solid milled stainless steel clasp, which is made from 316L grade. So outstanding 2-button push clasp. It's something I really like about my SN006-G2, and the same clasp is used on this 020-G, so I think it's one of the best clasps I've seen on watches regardless of their price point. Beautiful luster to the body, and it's complemented by the flawless mirror polishing to the chamfer on the edges. With regards to the rest of the specification, we have a boxed top hat crystal which is double domed, and it benefits from clear anti-reflective coating on the underside. The clear AR coating does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the silver applied indices and the mirror polished Mercedes hands. The proportions of the Mercedes hands are correct. The minute hand is long enough to extend to the minute ticks on the chapter ring, and also the second hand is also long enough to extend to the minute ticks. So unlike other Chinese watch brands, they've made the correct decisions with regards to the proportions. The perfect symmetry of the dial layout is very clear and legible, and I like the fact the dial isn't overbranded with unnecessary text and specification. We simply have automatic, and 100 meters equals 330 feet at 6 o'clock with an applied San Martin hex brand emblem at 12 o'clock, so just the right amount of information. Symmetry of the dial is very aesthetically pleasing, and it's complemented by the top hat boxed crystal. The stainless steel bezel is solid 316L grade stainless steel, mirror polished to a flawless standard, low profile, and it accentuates the top hat box crystal. It's just beautifully proportioned. One thing I really like about this piece is the use of female pivoted end links, and again San Martin have made the correct decision by not using male end links, because it keeps the end of the bracelet snug to the wrist, because the end link can articulate well and pull underneath the case. So very well executed, good tight fit to the head of the piece, and the profiling to the solid end links is done to perfection. Very well machined, and I really like the quality of the female pivoted end links. It reminds me of the end links used on the Black Bay 41 Heritage and also the Black Bay 58. So very well executed. Beautiful luster to the oyster style bracelet, and it really is the kind of finishing to a bracelet one would expect on a mid-tier piece costing circa €3,000, such as the Black Bay Heritage and the Black Bay 41. The flanks of the bracelet are mirror polished to a flawless standard, and we've got screw pins. Absolutely gorgeous luster to it. Right, so I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, I haven't sized the bracelet, I've simply taken the watch out of the watch box, and as you can see, I'm pleased to report that it fits my 8-inch wrist to perfection. The proportions of this piece are perfection personified. 39mm head of the piece is perfectly balanced by the 20mm lug width, and the oyster style bracelet tapering from 20 down to 16 at the 2-button push clasp. The lug to lug measurement is close to perfection because it's 47.5, which, as you'll know from my previous reviews, I consider 48 to be the perfect lug to lug measurement. At 47.5 it is very close to that. Beautiful taper to the 20mm lug width, and the proportions and the fits are just fantastic. This is one of the most comfortable watches I have ever worn, and I absolutely love the feel good factor, and I love the comfort level when wearing this piece for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. Now, although it's got a double domed box top hat crystal, it's only 13mm thick, so it's easily going to slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. And as I've discussed, I think that this sunburst blue version is the most aesthetically pleasing. I think it's better looking than the matte black or the Tiffany blue versions. I just think it's gorgeous the way the sunburst blue changes from an electric blue in direct light to a more navy blue in low light conditions. It really is the perfect daily wear piece. I think the proportions are good, it's just good looking, the finishing is good, the mirror polishing and the brush satin finishing is excellent throughout. Right, so let's test the crown execution. The screw down crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters. Solid 316L grade stainless steel, coin edge finished. One detail I really like about it is, rather than using the San Martin S brand emblem, they have used the later Hex brand emblem, which is embossed, and it's finished to a high standard. It's mirror polished, and then the background is matte bead blasted effect. The quality of the embossing to the San Martin Hex on the screw down crown is outstanding. It's just gorgeous, and it's definitely superior to the San Martin S brand logo, which is used on my SN020-G2. So I really like it. So let's test the execution. Nice firm resistance to the threading, but it feels silky smooth. Very similar in quality to a Rolex screw down crown, or alternatively a Tudor screw down crown. It's got a very smooth feeling to the threading, and I really like it. So the YN55A is a date complication piece. It does have a date wheel underneath the dial, which is present, so it does have a phantom date setting position. Pulling it out to the first click is actually the date setting position, and when one rotates the crown anti-clockwise, one can feel the date wheel clicking over with a quick set complication. So that's something to bear in mind. Unlike the NH38, which doesn't have a date complication, the YN55A does, as per the NH35A. Pulling it out to second click position hacks the movement, and as you can see, it's possible to stop the second hand dead to set the time precisely to the second. Nice light resistance to the caliber YN55A. Feels very similar to an NH35A, which you'll be familiar with. No backplay whatsoever. Feels like a good solid movement, so I like it. Absolute pleasure to set the time, and it feels very smooth. Pushing it back in, it's got a nice positive click, and that restarts the movement. So let's test screwing it back down. Immediate thread pickup. This is outstanding screw down crown execution. Silky smooth, but one can feel the resistance, the friction of the rubber O-ring inside the crown, and also the crown tube, which provide an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters. So 10 out of 10, this is one of the best screw down crowns I've experienced on a watch. I'll show you the case back. Sterile case back, solid 316L grade stainless steel. It provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters, very similar to a Rolex or Tudor case back because of its sterile form and no sharp edges, no burrs, and it's also coin edge finished to a nice standard, and one can clearly see the concentric CNC lathe tool machining to the centre section of it, and it's very low profile for an automatic case back. The female pivoted end links are a good tight fit to the case, very well machined, and the underside to the head of the piece is also very well machined, no sharp edges to the underside, and it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. Right, so let's do a Lume test and we'll see how the Lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to the absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. This is 10 out of 10 BGW9 Super Lume Nova performance. One thing I really like about San Martin watches is they use top grade BGW9. This is clearly 5 to 6 layers on the applied indices and also on the Mercedes hands. The colour tone match in blue on the hands and also the indices are perfect. I like the large Lume pip on the sweeping second hand because one can see the second hand sweeping around. The proportions of the hands are good, and one thing I really like about it is the Submariner dial layouts. We've got that perfect symmetry of the 9, 6 and 3 rectangle applied indices and then the circle indices for the other hours. The orientation of the dial is very good because we've got a large triangle at 12 o'clock. And I think this is outstanding. It's glowing incredibly brightly and it will continue to glow for a good length of time. Really, there is no difference in the quality of BGW9 Super Lume Nova that San Martin are using, Rolex Chrome Light and the Tudor Super Lume Nova used on the Black Bay, for example. And it's also equal in quality to the Seiko Luma Brights used. So this is really the very best of BGW9 Super Lume Nova. I absolutely love it. And as you can see, it is still continuing to glow incredibly brightly, and it will continue to glow for a long length of time. So, very good quality. Right, so let's discuss the movement used. This uses the caliber YN55A. So, the YN55A is the same as the Epson caliber F6922, which is made in Japan. So the F6922 is widely used by Orient in several of their watches, including the Orient Kamasu. And it's a reliable, well-proven workhorse movement as a result due to its usage in Orient watches. With regards to quality, in terms of build quality, materials, quality control, I regard the YN55A to be equal in quality to the Seiko NH35A. The architecture of both movements is actually very similar. The only real difference between the architecture of the YN55A and the NH35A respectively is the NH35A has 24 joules, the YN55A has 22 joules. So San Martin switched over to using the YN55A. Previously they used the NH35A, and the reason why they switched over was due to the shortage of NH35A movements because there was a shutdown during the pandemic at the Malaysia plant which produces the NH35A. So what that meant was the price of the NH35A, the wholesale price per piece, increased to close to the PT5000, so it was no longer viable for San Martin to use the NH35A due to the supply shortage. So they switched over to using the YN55A, which is the Epson F6922, and they stripped down the movement to check the quality, and they also regulated it, and they confirmed that the quality, the build's quality, the materials, the quality control, all exactly the same level as the NH35A. So they're now continuing to use it, both the YN55A and also the PT5000, and they are also using the NH35A in some other watches because the supply shortage has now eased. So I really like it. So 22 joules, it runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Frequency of 3 Hz, 40-hour power reserve is perfectly acceptable, and it has hand binding and hacking, which useful complications. The stated accuracy of the YN55A is -25 to +35 seconds per day. So let's contrast that accuracy with the NH35A. The NH35A has -20 to +40, so very similar to the -25 to +35 of this YN55A. This one is very well regulated and it's running consistently at +4 seconds per day. That is actually within chronometer limits of -4 to +6. To get +4 seconds per day from a YN55A is very good. So San Martin are well regulating the YN55As they're using, and I think it's the correct choice for this piece. It's a credible alternative to the PT5000 and also a credible alternative to the NH35A. The only thing I will say is it does have a phantom date setting position, so yes, I would prefer if they use the NH38 because that doesn't have a phantom date setting position due to the lack of the date complication. But however, this is subjective. For the majority of collectors, the extra clicking position on the crown isn't going to be a problem, and I think the YN55A, because it's reliable and well proven, it is a good choice. So lastly, I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So $229 is the price point. Really, to evaluate this piece, one has to study the quality of the finishing of the head of the piece, the case back, and also the bracelet throughout. Flawless mirror polishing to the flanks of the case, the bezel, and also the flanks to the bracelets, the brush satin finishing to the tops of the lugs, and the beautiful luster on the bracelets, and also the 2-button push clasp is outstanding. This is the kind of finishing one would expect to see on a mid-tier piece, costing in excess of €3,000, such as the Black Bay Heritage and the Black Bay 41 respectively. So $229, this is significantly less expensive, but the quality control, the build quality and the finishing are mid-tier level. They are €3,000 watch level. So yes, I consider it to be excellent quality, and yes, I consider it to be excellent value at $229. I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. In fact, I like this watch so much, I've decided to add it to my own personal collection, and that really is the highest compliment I can pay a watch. I'm going to highly recommend it to you for your consideration. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the San Martin SN020-G limited edition. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.